Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
And we are back to discuss Hawkeye. This time, everyone here has watched 2 episodes, right?
3 total.
Yes.
Wait, I stopped at episode 2.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about season 1, episodes 2 and 3, Hide and Seek and Echoes. We thought we were going to be talking about episode 2 last week, but it didn't happen. But we're all caught up now. So let's do overall thoughts. Wait, before you do, what have you guys heard about this show? Like, what would you say other people are thinking about this show? Like,
I mean, just
mostly
the articles,
positive.
I think people are liking it.
Yeah, and the articles I've seen, it's a lot of fan service. So I guess there's like still more to come. Like I don't know if you guys want me like
No. I'm just
article I
curious.
saw today, but yeah.
I'm just curious because you guys know I watch like reaction videos. And it's interesting that I'm enjoying it too, and I really like the character of Kate, and it's interesting like where I'm seeing the hate for her come from.
Men?
Yeah. But surprisingly some women too, but it's like the weirdest thing. It's like she's annoying and how good she is unbelievable, and I'm not sure like what they're watching. Oh, good night, Nico.
And I don't know like what they expect. Like, because I know what you're saying. Like, she's not perfect, and we've seen her be not perfect. But at the same time, it's Marvel, and like the characters here are supposed to be really good at the things they do.
Yeah, and like I feel like I was trying to think if there was like a male comparison, and I feel like the closest is at the most recent Peter Parker. And when it comes to like him and Tony, and you know, he had those same issues, right? Like he's really, really good. He's obviously capable. Sometimes he doesn't listen.
Right. This is the young man.
And it's just interesting to me that a character like Kate, like I feel like it's essentially the same thing.
It is.
And you know, Tony would be exasperated with Peter the way we've seen Clint be with Kate, and for her to get so much hate as to like, oh, she's annoying and she doesn't listen. And it's like, I guess, you know, okay, Peter got bitten by a spider, so they don't question his skills, but like he doesn't get called annoying when he's not listening, you know, to Tony or Happy or whatever, and making a situation worse before it gets better, you know, like it's just so weird. So I was just curious if you've seen any of that, because I've seen a bit of it.
Yeah, I mean the new Spider-Man movie is literally based on him fucking something up.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't been paying attention, honestly, to a lot of what people have been talking about. I've just seen, like, reactions, like, every Wednesday, I guess. And, like, by every Wednesday, I mean the last 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I just see, like, the chatter that, you know, comes up on Twitter, basically.
Yeah.
And, and I think it's been positive, what I've seen. I mean, I can see where... Like, it's not surprising to hear that there are some people who are having that reaction. Like, it's the same kind of reactions that you see to, like, Rey in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, people just, they can't accept the idea that a female character is good before you meet them.
Yeah.
They
got to see it. You got to prove it to them.
Right? I mean, that's the thing is, like, we were talking about, like, comparing Kate to Peter Parker, and it's like, compared to him, she's a master. Like, we've heard that, like, not like we saw her as a child want to be an archer. The moment that that was sparked in her to want to get good at archery when she saw him doing his shit and save her life. And then we've heard that she went through with that. She followed through on wanting to do that. And then she also got a black belt.
Yeah. In her spare time.
I mean, it's like we've heard that she did those things. We don't have to see her train. Like, she did
Well, I guess I will say the one channel that I've seen a lot of negativity come from is the normies. And but thankfully, like in their comment section, people are like calling them out on it. And but it was just interesting to me that their reaction to the third episode, episode 3, was at the beginning of it, I guess they addressed some of it because they were the ones who were calling her character a Mary Sue for the first episode. And then they got dragged for that. And then I guess there was some other negativity in the second episode. They were saying things about the character. So at the start of the third episode, Siraj goes, but to imply that someone has internalized misogyny simply because of their opinions of a TV show is absurd. We're like, what?
No, it's not. That's literally like textbook.
Right, but wait a second. Like right after he says that, Chris, who's a black man, was like picking up a drink to take a sip from it, and he stopped and he goes, but to be fair, I will absolutely call someone racist because of their views of a TV show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, exactly. Like, I was like, you don't get how these things work, do you? But like, and he and I couldn't even remember like exactly what it was, but he and I got into it recently over something problematic he had said on the thing. And, you know, people in the chat were talking about it. And he just, in my opinion, he does not respond well to criticism like that, like of any kind of toxicity. And everybody's guilty of it. Well, I'll speak for myself. You know, I've said some things that you think, ugh, you know, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but he doesn't take that well. So anyway, I was just curious if you guys had seen any of that. But thankfully, the best part about it is the audience, they have their listeners, or excuse me, viewers, call them out on it. So it feels like the audience as a whole feels like we do, which is, I guess, relatively positive.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm loving it. I'm loving the show. Episode 3, like, is even better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, I really enjoyed like the introduction of Echo. When it began and like we saw that he killed her father, I was like, are we supposed to be on his side still? Because...
Right. Oh my God. That's so glad you brought that up. Cause I'm going to talk about that more later, but yes, definitely that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy how fun it is. And I feel like with their chemistry between Kate and Clint is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel like the directing, like they're doing some interesting shit.
Yeah, there's that car chase with the camera like inside, like it was like a one shot for like the longest time.
Yeah, it was great. It reminded me of Children of Men. Like that's a very like a famous Warner.
Yeah.
And I just think this show is they're doing a lot of really good things, and I got emotional in episode 3.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Someone had asked I think it was Kimberly had asked if we were doing Clubhouse chats for this show like we did for Loki and WandaVision. And oh shit, we did do for Winter Falcon. That's how we got the name Winter Falcon. And I was like, I don't know, because I like I said, I was not as excited for this show as I was the others. But again, I wasn't very excited for Winter Falcon either. And watched it and really liked it. And by episode like 2 or 3, I was loving it. Same thing with WandaVision, actually. I feel like we started the Clubhouse. We didn't start from like the beginning.
No, we started about like 3 or 4 episodes.
3 or 4 episodes in. So So I said going into this, I was like, we'll see. Because I said this before, and I keep saying I got to stop doubting them because every time I do. So, yeah, this is like the episode for me that it just kind of clicked and it picked up. So I was like really liking it before, but I was loving it by this episode, by episode 3. What about you, Donnie?
No, like you guys were all like the last podcast. You guys were talking about how good episode 2 was, and I watched episode 2 after we ended. But episode 3 to me was by far the best of the 3 so far.
Yeah,
it was a straight up Avengers movie. It's like just, it was like that. All the action, so much action happened that I was just waiting for a slowdown, and it really wasn't much of a slowdown. It was just like episode's over. I was like, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
And it is leaning into like the comedy action, like buddy cop kind of thing. Yeah, like that formula.
And that works, I think, really well, considering, again, like, I know that because it's Marvel, the stakes are never small. You know, like, on the surface, you may think it's like about this and it's linked to something way bigger. Like by this episode, with the introduction of the unseen uncle, it's you know, this is, you know, there's obviously going to be bigger things at play. But for right now, again, considering the skill set of our heroes, meaning Clint and Kate, and that they're not super powered again, they're not going to, you know, they can't heal themselves and all that stuff. Right now, the stakes seem appropriate. Appropriately like medium, you know, like I'm not medium rare. Yeah, and I'm not, and I'm, for instance, I'm not worried about Clint at the end of this episode. You know, this cliffhanger. I'm not worried about him at all, you know, like, but so for me, that makes the kind of comedy work even better, because it feels like a Beverly Hills Cop kind of 48 hours, you know, there'll be some light death. Like you'll get the death of what was his name? The uncle.
Armand the Third.
Yeah. You know, like that. But it hasn't been too graphic, too gory. It does feel very buddy cop. All right, let's talk about them. So episode 2, like I said, was hide and seek. This is, like Donnie said, the episode that we were disappointed to find you hadn't watched, because I really did think that this episode made the first episode, which was good to me, even better.
Yeah, they really do, like, because it ends on that cliffhanger where they meet each other for the first time. Like those 2 episodes really do go together.
Yeah. You kind of need it to kind of get where this is going.
In that sense too, 2 and 3 go together because the way, like, so far every episode's ended with a cliffhanger, and episode 2 ends with Echo turning around, and then it goes off.
This is only 6 episodes, by the way, which I think is appropriate. Again, with this kind of like the scale of the story, let's say, it so far doesn't feel like it needs to have 8 or 10 episodes. So we're at Kate's apartment. I had mentioned this last time that you really see how Clint is just a guy. Like everything, and it continues. Like there are times when like he jumps through a window and you just hear him. He'll jump through a window and you'll hear him say, like, ugh, like he just grunts. You can practically hear his knees cracking, is what I'm saying.
Well, even just him just walking around and, like, sitting on a stoop or people walking by, and it's like nobody recognizes him.
Yeah.
Nobody knows he's just some guy just standing there.
He's just tired.
Yes.
All the time. He really is, like, very John McClane in that way.
Yes.
Where, like, he just kind of is, like, always leaning.
Yes.
And when they were walking around in the beginning of this episode, and he's, like, looking around, like, they're sneaking around, I was like, in the real world, like, the paparazzi would be taking pictures of Clint Barton with this mystery lady.
That's true. So
we get Pete Davidson or something.
Like way above his pay grade.
They only want pictures of Spider-Man.
So this is where we're introduced to in this episode to the basically where he's going to be living, her aunt's apartment. I was like, okay, Mabel.
Only murders?
Yeah, I was like, okay, Mabel. I actually have that in my notes because she's like rich. I'm like, oh, you're from money. And then in the next episode, we find out her great grandfather built the building she lives in. So.
Yeah, she's rich.
Right.
Yeah. So she definitely comes from some slave owners, right?
Oh yeah, probably.
The Rockefellers.
Mm-hmm. So he goes back for the suit that they left, and that's where he catches the clue about the suit is gone. One of the firemen probably took it, and it turns out that fireman is a LARPer.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I loved the use of that. I know I'm jumping a little bit.
No, it's fine.
I loved right when he waltzed in there, and number one, it was so funny that they're like, you have to follow the rules.
Yes.
And then he reluctantly goes in, follows the rules. But I love that it was great because you got to see him kick ass without hurting anybody.
Yeah.
So it was like he could just go off full Ronin and not actually hurt anyone.
Yeah.
I love that.
When he confronts the guy Grills, and he goes, I can either pretend kill you and take the suit, or I can really punch you and really knock you down and take the suit. And so when they make that agreement, and he's like, oh, and I fought Thanos, but he does it. The music that is playing when he quote unquote dies is the Avengers theme, but it's like really sad. Did you catch that?
No.
Oh my God. You gotta go back.
It's like the Reigns of Castamere.
Yes! Exactly. But to fit that whole Ren Fair shit that they had going on, you gotta go back and listen. I was like, oh, that's genius.
I loved it too because like they were so into it. Because the guy was like, I got these potions. You want to drink these potions?
Yeah, it's like, who doesn't drink the potion?
They're like, oh my God, he's not doing it. He's not taking any potions.
Drink the potion.
And then he goes, are you ready? And he goes, I'm begging you, please kill me. Oh my God, it was so good. Another funny thing in the episode I thought was when he sends his kids off, and he was like, keep an eye on Nate. He's like, or what were the 3 rules? He's like, don't lose Nate. And then there was like, oh my God, where's Nate?
Where's Nate? And he's over there like licking the wall.
Yeah. It's like, he's going to get COVID that way. Jesus Christ.
They're like, oh, come on, Nate, get over here.
We do get, we learn about Kate's mom's business, which is she owns a security company, and we learn that Kate works there. So Kate has to go to work in her aunt's Beetlejuice suit. I don't know what she was wearing. So this hasn't come up yet, but I feel like it has to later. In this episode, she gets a call from a detective about the fire in her apartment. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you don't sound upset, but she's like worried about Jack. Like she's busy side-eyeing me mugging Jack. She's like, I'm at work, I can't talk. And she was supposed to go into the police station, which would the day of episode 3. And clearly she didn't. So that's going to come up again, right?
Yeah, probably that cop's going to show up at some point.
I'm just trying to figure out like how that could come back in a negative way. I don't know.
Maybe it doesn't come back in a negative way. Maybe he like becomes a friend or something.
You're setting up season 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And
season 2? I feel like if there's a season 2, it'll be full Kate Bishop.
Oh my God, absolutely.
They would change the name of it.
Yeah, like I felt like that was a given, considering, especially with like this episode, like how much they're letting her do. It's not just that for me, it's been believable to me that she can do these things physically, that she can do these things, like she has the fortitude to, the balls to do these things, but that they're leveling her up, like they're experience wise. So it would make sense for her to, like what does Steve Rogers, be that guy to make the sacrifice play or whatever. Like you're seeing her do hero things, hero moves. So I want to see more of that. So by this episode, I'm just like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I guess I could just say it now. Like they could kill Clint, honestly.
Yeah, they should have in the movie.
But hear me out. Hear me out though, because we really got to talk about this. This, I had jokingly said back when we saw Endgame that, he went over there killing brown people and we have perfectly good white supremacists here at home. Then this series starts and we see he has a reputation for doing it here at home. But I see it's still brown people.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, wait, he fucking killed Zon McLaren.
Right. Right. So he's just killing, brown, black, and indigenous folks, just, and go ahead.
I was going to go back. I hated, like, Zon McLaren shows up. I'm like, I love this guy. He's playing a great character here. And then they fucking kill him in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and the fact that I knew it was going to happen, I just hated the fact that it was him because he's so good. But, I said then that this is like, it's problematic. And then again, when you find out, okay, well, he was doing it here, but so far it seems like he's been, targeting. Okay. So in the scene in episode 3 where they're in the diner and he's like, I'm not a role model. I was like, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's absolutely right. But I'm curious to see where the show is going to go with that, because it feels like, oh, they are going to address the Ronin stuff in a meaningful way, right? Not just because basically Natasha was like, this isn't you. Come help us. Like we may have it was like, like we stopped doing this. Yeah. Stop doing this because we need your help. When, remember, they knew it was him before that. Right?
Yeah, they were just letting him blow off steam.
Basically. Exactly.
For
so
5 years, go kill all these little
right. So, but I feel like I thought to me that they were never going to address that, but it feels like they are. But like how? Because as he's saying it, I'm like, yeah, he's right. He's not. She's insisting that he is. And in her eyes, I can see why. Is it going to be something where she changes his mind? Because no.
I think it should, like, I think it should be that he changes her mind.
Exactly.
Like, because she was so close. She was like, oh, you protect Ronan because it's someone close to you.
Yes.
Like, no, you're very close.
Yes.
But just try a little harder.
And I don't understand, like, why no one's... I'm guessing just because he's an Avenger. You know what I mean? Because it feels like everybody else, in terms of when I say everybody else, like Maya, like, they get it. Like, the criminals are people still. And he had no right to go out there and just massacring, people.
Right.
So I'm like, I feel like they get it. I don't know if, like, she's going to get it. Like, oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. I don't understand why they don't get it now that it's Clint. Like, even when she was questioning him, like, well, where's Ronan? He's dead. Who killed him? Black Widow. Like, she's dead. Who can corroborate it? Like, I'm like, how are you not piecing this together? But I'm guessing it's because he's an Avenger.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the way that they realize that it's him is that Echo is going to be like, she's going to recognize his movements. Because that's like her thing. Is that she's able to replicate what people do, right? Because you see it like in her karate class or whatever. She's
Yes,
able
yes,
to.
yes.
She watches someone, and then she's able to echo them. And so like that just feels like it would make sense then that she would see Clint fighting or something and realize, oh shit, that's the same way that Ronan fought,
You
when I
don't
saw
think
him.
that if you don't think that if that was the case, it wouldn't have happened here?
I was expecting it to happen here,
Mm.
but I don't know, like it maybe he just hasn't used a sword in front of her or something.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Because that is how he killed all those people the night when he killed her dad.
Yeah.
Um,
And so I mean, I don't know. Like that just feels like it could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna, but I mean, it
yeah,
just feels like that's possible. And then I don't know if that would be how Kate would find out, or if like if maybe Maya would talk to her, or there'd be some kind of conversation between the two of them.
yeah.
Because I know that there's going to be an Echo show. You
Oh,
know that,
that's
right?
good. No, I didn't know that. That's
I didn't know
great.
that.
Yeah, apparently there's going to be a spin-off about Echo. So I don't know if it's going to be like a prequel or what, but
Right. Well,
yeah.
okay. Well,
So
then that means that she. Well, okay. If it's a prequel, I guess. But I was gonna say it doesn't sound like that she's gonna kill anybody. Then,
I mean, I
like
don't
I
know
don't
if
see her killing Clinton, getting her own show.
I mean, you never know if he really goes all out in like I'm not a hero, and, and then and then she kills him, and maybe
I
it's like,
don't
hey,
know.
she killed a guy who's a villain.
Yeah.
I do like. I read an article that said that a lot of the cast members learned sign language just to make her feel more comfortable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
Um, I like that he tells his wife things. So, like, when he calls in and she's asking, like, she knows everything. He's not making up excuses. But I don't know then if I like the fact that apparently she knows he was Ronin and she's
Yes.
cool
Yeah.
with it.
Yes.
Because she
Yeah,
asked
seems
about
like it,
the wardrobe malfunction thing. So it's like, oh, she knows about the suit. Then she has to know why he's trying to get it back.
Right.
So, sis, we okay with that? I'm guessing the answer is yes.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, hey, we were blipped out of existence, and he went a little crazy.
You know, it happens.
He saw some therapy. I mean, he's
It's a living.
You got to do what you got to do. We got 3 kids. I mean, come on.
So, and the last thing for this episode I wanted to mention, this is, what I was, based on this episode, a lot of things in this episode that I was like, her mom's a villain, right? Because, like, when she finally talks to her, she's like, I'm hearing that your apartment was on fire. And she's like, something, something, something. And then something, something. And then, like, the call is over. Like, she barely, like, your daughter's apartment was on fire. And it just felt like it was kind of yada, yada, yada over. Mm-hmm. But also, like, again, I feel like they're too heavily setting up that Jack killed Armand.
yes.
That's his name?
I mean,
Yeah.
she's the one that. Oh,
Well,
it's
Kate
sword,
is really,
sword,
yeah.
sword.
Because this is where we get the whole thing with the butterscotch. There was apparently some butterscotch candy in Armand's, in the vicinity of the dead body or something, and it's the same candy that Jack offers her in this episode. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but that was his nephew, so why is it weird?
I mean, it does feel like it would make sense that her mom is the one who killed the uncle.
Yeah. And then in that first episode, when we overhear Armand threatening her, he says something like, everything you have is built on a lie. And then he goes, you're not the only one with powerful friends.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, when the series began, they were broke.
Right.
And then somehow she saved it.
Right.
In, the time since the father died. And it's like, what did she do?
And again, like, that is way pre-blip. And you know what? Like, somebody said something, I can't remember who, and did the math. Like, I don't think the daughter was blipped away.
Whose daughter?
Kate.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody in the group wrote out and did the math. I don't remember exactly, but they were like, it worked when I read it. That was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense that she would be blipped. She would have been blipped away. But anyway, when her father died was like the time of 2012 is when they say the first. Yeah. So that's like how many years before the blip?
10.
Yeah.
I think. Well, Donnie, you say blip is when they came back, right?
Well, either. I mean.
Oh, right. We had that
No matter
conversation.
what.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I think it was 5 years.
No. But I'm sorry. That's not where I was going. Where I was going was I was trying to figure out if in some way the money, like on the surface, how they're explaining how this woman went from being out of debt. Are we supposed to think it was he died and it's just regular life insurance? And then she parlayed that into this wealth that she has now? Or is it somehow like, did they get compensated for his death because of the way it happened? You get what I mean? Like a lawsuit or something like that. Because I still felt like, huh?
Is that what didn't the Accords do some like that was the whole reason of the Accords, right? Of the second Avengers movie, right?
No, well, I don't know if that was included in that. I don't remember if there's like maybe it seems like that would be something that would be included in that, like some sort of compensation.
Right.
But my point is, I'm trying to think of like again like a motive, like why she would have done it, and I'm telling you, when she's calling for them and there's no answer, like I feel like she was probably killing him, or he got hurt and she left him on purpose.
Mm.
You know, like maybe something fell on his legs and he wouldn't have been dead. You know,
but then something fell on his face.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody in Invasion needs to pay attention.
Oh my God, right? She's God. Anyway, so yeah, so that's for me. Like, was the beginning, right? And then of course there's more. In the third episode, she had one line. I don't remember. I think it was in the first episode, but when she told Kate, yeah, there are two type of people who think they're invincible: young people and rich people, and you've always been both. I love that.
No lie there.
Mm-hmm. So that second episode ends with the introduction of Maya, right? And in the third episode, the opening is our little cold open is an introduction of her through the years, and we learn pretty quickly that she is deaf, really smart, tough, and she has a prosthetic lower, I think it's her right foot. Yeah, like lower leg right foot. And apparently she has I don't know if it's a blood relation or, a close family friend that is called Uncle, who they don't want to show us his face, which means that he's probably someone we already know.
Yeah. I mean, y'all, come on, we can say it.
I heard the rumor.
I mean, it feels like it has to be, right?
It's in New York.
Yeah, it's in New York. Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about, like, because it's not a spoiler, because, like, nobody knows anything.
Right.
But,
the
speculation, like, people have, like, fucking Sherlocked it.
Right,
like,
they've been speculating for months. Like, that's been, like, Kingpin's coming back, Daredevil's coming back, and but Kingpin was like the first one I heard, like, oh, Kingpin's coming back.
Okay, so
and
I have a question.
Because of this story.
And so, they've seen, like, they've said, oh, look at these cufflinks. And it's like they match the cufflinks from Kingpin. Oh, look at the house where the auction happened in episode 1. It's where Kingpin lives. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, there are a lot of hints, I guess, that it would be Kingpin.
Okay, so my question then is it Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yes, that's what I've heard.
So that's why they're not showing the face. Then the Netflix shows then are still canon.
Yes, because supposedly there's a rumor that Charlie Cox might be in the Spider-Man.
So I don't remember how their stories ended.
I don't think I watched the last season of.
Yeah, and I don't think I feel like going back to find out. Well, there you go. That's what Wikipedia is for. I actually donate to Wikipedia now because did it ever happen to you when you guys log in and they're like, help us?
Yeah, they're like, give us some money. And I'm like, I donated a lot of time to editing Wikipedia. So, like, years of my life.
Where's my money?
I'm having thousands of edits on that fucking site. So.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't. Not once. But I damn sure have read the plots of many books or movies. The other night, I went down the rabbit hole. I told you guys. Did I tell you? The Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee?
No.
Oh, my God. So, one day I was trying to fall asleep, and I think it was the little teaser trailer dropped for the TV show about the whole scandal with the sex tape. And somebody posted it in a group, and I watched it. And I was like, I'd forgotten about how much of, the details surrounding it at the time. I knew certain stuff, but I'd forgotten, like, oh, that's right, it was stolen. There was in a safe that was stolen from their house, and so, and the lawsuits and all. I'd forgotten those details. So I was reading about it on Wikipedia, and it just led me down. I was like, how old is Pamela Anderson? What does she look like now? And then I remembered the whole thing with the hepatitis, and then like. There was after that, like, I completely forgotten this. There's a sex tape with her and what's his name?
Bret Michaels.
Bret Michaels, thank you. From Poison, I think is the one. I used to know these things. And so that just led me down. But so that happens. I spend some time on Wikipedia sometimes when I can't sleep looking at useless shit like that. So like last month or a month before, they were like, if everybody who hits this up just gave us $1, we'd be fine. It just made me feel guilty, okay? All right. It's like $2.50 or $3 a month, and I'll do it for a few months, and then I'll cancel it, and I'll feel better, okay?
Mm-hmm. I think it's great when people give to it because it is a very valuable website.
It is, and I'm like, I've learned so much from it. I've used it even, like, you can't use it to cite stuff for classes, but there have been times when I've been reading something and they'll, like, refer to some historical battle or something. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. So then I go to Wikipedia and I learn what it is, and I come back, and then now it's like, oh, okay, this is why this is important here. So yeah, it's like, I'll do that.
And it is very, like, the editing process, like, really quickly, just like, it is, it's very democratic. Like, the site, the way that it has been built up, like, through just the people making it, just the people editing it, and everybody just decides, like, oh, this is how we should do this, and then they vote on whether or not that's the way they should do it, and then whatever the outcome is, they do it. like it is very diplomatic, and and the way that people are like, oh, you can't trust Wikipedia to be accurate. It's like, yeah, you can, because you understand that if you actually pay attention to how much goes into the sourcing on Wikipedia.
Okay. Where were we? Oh, so Maya is most likely connected to Kingpin, right? Again, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a blood relative relation, but someone that they refer to as uncle. I think later in the third episode, Kazi also calls him uncle.
He does. He's like,
which is like,
he wouldn't be happy with.
No, Uncle don't find out.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't watch this on Wednesday. I watched it today. So, like, I saw on Wednesday people were saying, like, Kingpin was fucking trending.
Yeah.
And I was like, and so I was like, oh wow, and that was something I was just so excited to be spoiled on that. Like, I was like, this is amazing. I can't wait to watch and see what the fuck's going
on. So when they're being held hostage from the end of the last episode, in which Kate crashed in after Clint let himself be caught, there's first of all, the way Jeremy Renner was sitting on that unicorn, he just looked so fucking tired. Like, not just that Clint looked tired, like Jeremy Renner looked like, all right, just 3 more episodes.
Cash this check.
And I'm done with this character and this indignity. He looks so fucking over it.
I love it because, like, it's so, like, and that's one reason why, like, I got a little emotional later, because, like, he was so close to being through with this.
Yep.
Like, he would have been gone. He would have been able to have the movie marathon tonight.
Yep.
Like, he would have been fine, and then she had to go and fuck things up.
But I will say that. Oh, you mean here, her dropping through the thing?
Yeah. When she drives through, and I mean, I'm not complaining that she did it. I'm just saying, like, that's how it feels. That, like, he was like, God, I could have been done with this, and he even says it later. He's like, I was about to have your name cleared. You were done.
Yeah. Yep. Because I will say later, when they do have that really great scene where she writes down what his son is saying because the hearing aid was broken. There's people reacting saying she should feel like shit right now, and one actually went so far and called her a bitch, and I'm like, really? Because he's a grown man also. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, if he really wanted to, he could just fucking take her home for fucking, movie marathon. She stay with us for a week.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the thing is, like, I think she does feel bad.
No, yeah, obviously and that's why she brings it up to him late in the diner, where she says, you are doing this just because somebody you don't know might get hurt. You left your family and all of that.
And so, like, people are stupid because, like, you're like, and on one hand, they complain that there's no character development to get her to the point where she's at. But then when there's actual character development where she's like, oh shit, like, my actions have consequences.
Right.
And she feels bad about it. And they're like, oh, it's like, what do you want from the show?
Well, what do you want from women, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't catch a break. But yeah, there's that cute Imagine Dragon scene when one of the tracksuit mafia is like, she's like, you good? Like, what's up?
I loved it because that was something that I feel like it defines her character a little bit. And in that, like, it was kind of similar to, like, the way that Peter Parker is always talking in the middle of fights and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like the way that scene played was like, this guy had something that he wanted to talk about, and none of the other guys were even paying attention to him. And so when she says, well, you're all right, and then he's like, he looks around and nobody else is paying attention, he's like, fine, I'll talk to her about it.
Yes.
And then, like, it kind of throws off the whole thing, and it's like, that's kind of one of her strengths, is,
yeah,
and it's different from the way that Clint is very subdued and not doing that shit.
After she gives that really good advice, he's like, well, wait, hold on, I gotta write it down. Because he's a man. Anyway.
I love that it's like Imagine Dragons, because, like, the earlier scene with Maya and her dad talking about dragons and imagining them coming from another world. Yeah.
The hearing aid talk. I really like this. When Maya sees Clint, she sees the hearing aid, she releases his hand so he can sign. Mm-hmm. And you can see that, she doesn't seem to really... He tells her right off that he's not deaf, he's hard of hearing. And then lets her know, I guess, that his sign language is still kind of limited.
Yeah, he's like, more cookie, please. Thank you.
Yes, and she looked so disgusted. And then she was basically like, I guess, like, it felt like she didn't approve of the fact that he was using a hearing aid.
Yeah, she says that he
limiting himself.
Yeah, he relies too much on technology.
Yeah, yeah. And so much so that she so pettily steps on it later.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
So it's almost a teaching moment.
Well, I wonder, honestly, it's not my lane, not my community, but I wonder how the deaf, hearing impaired, like how that plays. Because I know that that's a thing where, like with anything, like, no group of people, everyone's going to agree on one thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but that is a kind of a area of disagreement on these things, as is, I remember, what is her name? Cassie DePaiva from One Life to Live. It's a soap opera. I remember when in real life, she married her co-star. Like the characters, were written together on the show. They fell in love in real life, got married. And their son was born hearing impaired, I believe. I don't think it was completely deaf. And I remember when they were going to do, or I think they ended up doing it, getting him some sort of implant. There was an article about, she did an interview about how divided the community is over that. So I'm curious to see, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anybody address it. The only thing I've seen people talking about really is this where Clint faces consequences for, being basically like, these people who go and just shoot up supermarkets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so I haven't seen anything around this, but like I do know when she stomped on it, I was just like, ooh, like that. I just felt like, I don't know, that could kind of play differently within the community. I was curious. So
yeah, like you said, like there's definitely a point of contention like that, and like cochlear implants, and like there's that great movie or documentary. What is it? The Sound and Fury.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was
that.
A documentary that Megan really liked. That. Yeah, I mean, I think that is a point of contention.
And I just wonder how much they're going to explore that.
Yeah, I mean...
Because the actress is actually deaf, right?
Yeah, I do feel like it feels kind of like if there's a place for him to learn something, it's going to be that he's going to learn more sign language.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know what... I don't know what Kate said, but it was saucy as fuck, and it made Maya grip her up by the throat, and that shit was hilarious. I don't know if her Karen came out, but
just like very smart ass. Like it was something smart ass.
It was so,
sure.
And I love the way they did it because, it was from Maya's point of view, which she can't hear what she's saying. She's reading what she's saying. And so they don't tell us either. But then she starts remembering her dad dying. And she's just not in the fucking mood for whatever shit Kate was saying.
I don't know. Take this seriously.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, well, I put it on because I didn't want anybody to know I was at the auction. It's like, see, that's all you had to say.
And it's like, because like, the thing is, when he says she didn't know anything about the suit, she just put it on, like, it seems that Maya believes that. She's like, yeah, sure, but why? Like, I need more information.
Right.
Like, but then when Kate's not taking it seriously, then Maya just grips her up.
Yep. And again, they never tell us what she said, but then even Clint is like, you got to check that overconfidence of yours a little bit, okay? The fight that ensued from this I thought was pretty cool. Again, we have her stepping on the hearing aid. The arrow that he uses to free Kate swipes not Jon Snow. You see it. Wait, admit that you see it. No.
But he knows some things, though.
Right.
Oh, yeah, right?
But
just a hell of a lot smarter.
Just the use of the bow and arrow in this episode made me just like the weapon better.
Right?
They made.
I was like, this bow and arrow was fucking awesome. Like, I've watched now 10 years of Marvel movies and all this stuff, and they've never made Hawkeye like this cool.
Yeah, they've made him so much better just in one sequence. Where it just felt like, oh yeah, these fucking arrows are cool.
Yep.
And we've seen, like, and that's the funny thing, going back and thinking about the movies and stuff, and yes, in the movies he did have arrows that did different things, but they never really focused on them, so you didn't pay attention to it as much as I did in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, because he's always surrounded by, Captain America.
Right.
And gods.
yeah, like Thor with his hammer. And, Iron Man in his fucking suit. Like, his bow and arrow doesn't look too cool.
Yeah.
The fact that he had a Pym arrow, that was like
that was
the
so
best
cool.
arrow. Like, just, you have one arrow that can fucking make anything huge.
I will tell you, like, this is my, like, probably my one nitpick with this episode is, like, some of these motherfuckers should be dead.
Yes.
Because...
Do you think they're not? I mean,
yeah, well,
they still kept coming back on the chase. Like, there was stuff they were doing.
There was times before, that I felt like they were,
Yeah.
but definitely with that Pym one, like it turned it into like a missile, and like the main Dimitri and Kazi are in the car, and like right before it hits, he's like, Kazi, and it just like hits behind them, and like that part of the truck is on fire a little bit in the car, but like everybody's fine. I'm like, what? How is that like? And now I will say there's one scene before that when Kate is doing the shooting and Clint is driving, and she shoots that one arrow and it hits the grill of the car and it blows up and it flips the van and it flips, and like that whole front cab is on fire. And I was like, so Kate's a murderer now. Because
no, self-defense.
I think it's self-defense, absolutely. But I mean, there was like, it just shocked me that there was no acknowledgement of that. Mm-hmm. Like, those two guys are just gone.
Yeah, it does. It feels.
And she was just like, "Oh, that's my favorite arrow," or something.
Yeah, like, it does feel very like it's again like very like buddy cop, where it's like these nameless guys, like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they die, but it's like you don't acknowledge it, so like it doesn't really matter. It's just cool.
And there's so much like on this chase, because this kicks off the whole...
Wait. Let's, before we go to the chase, back to there's two things with the fight. So remember that. Okay. I wanted to say the ball pit scene, mm-hmm. where he's like swimming under the balls like a shark. I don't know how physically that would work, but it looked cool.
Right.
I was like, they made that look way too cool.
Doing it. Right.
And then they did that thing where, I don't know if it's on purpose, but like I felt like the first time Clint had to fight Maya, like he did that thing where it's like he held back a little bit because she's a woman. Like I don't think he took it seriously until she hit him a few times.
Yeah, she was kicking his ass.
Yes, and it was like, and I was trying to think, well, they are also kind of shining a light on a little bit that he's old, like I said, like you hear him grunt and stuff, like when he jumps through that window into the room where he eventually gets his bow and arrows, like when he jumps into that room, like he lands, he's like, ugh. I love that. So I thought, oh, maybe they're saying like he's just not as, but then I was like, I don't know, because he's like him and Natasha, come on. Like, so I felt like he was holding back until she like, fucked him up a little bit. And then he decided to fight back.
Then he was able to grab his bow and arrow, and he was like, "Oh, now it's on."
Yes,
he's very reliant on his technology.
Yeah,
Kate has some good fight scenes here too. I even liked like they start her out with like spinning around the pole on the ground. And,
that was cool.
Like sweeping people. I thought all that stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the shopping cart.
Yeah. Okay, so the chase. We have like this pretty long one shot where it feels like there's just like a camera mounted like sitting in the middle of the and
this whole chase, like the one thing that this kicks off the humor of the real big humor with the hearing aid. So now you had the last fight where it destroys the hearing aid, and then like this ongoing joke through the rest of the episode with he can't hear anything that she's saying, and she keeps forgetting that, and it's just like that brought the humor into it, and then you have this constant action through the whole thing, which is great.
And where like she'll say something and then he'll repeat what she said as if he's saying it first.
This was interesting. The fact that she doesn't know how to drive makes this possible. I was like, how you not know how to... I mean, I know it's New York.
She's in New York and she's rich.
And she's filthy rich. Okay, I guess. So she was like, I don't know how to drive. So he has to drive and she shoots. And there we have the whole, going through the arrows. We still don't know exactly why he has a Play-Doh putty foamy arrow. But then we talked about the fire. She's a murderer now. Then the Pym arrow on the bridge. And then their escape using the plunger arrow. That was ridiculously, like, it was unbelievable. But again, it's Marvel, so fuck it. But like, her just, when they were swinging through, like before they hit the top of the train, her just going like, woohoo! I just love that about her. Because I'd have been like, oh my God. I would have been like, please don't let me die.
He had a Spider-Man arrow, and I was like
yeah.
Arrows for everything.
Yeah, he's using the Avengers to his
right. I was like, where's the Thor arrow? Come on,
like a lightning arrow.
For every Avenger.
Oh, that would be cool. But I did like the scene where they jump off the bridge, because I was like, I just felt like that's what she saw him do when she was a kid, jumping off that building, and now she gets to do it with him.
Yeah. And when he's going to feel like shit when he finds out how much he's influenced her. And it's weird because she hasn't really come out and said it, Like, she said, like, oh, like, I'm a big fan. But she hasn't said, like, you literally saved my life. He doesn't know it because it was that trick arrow. But he was showing off.
And he wasn't even looking. He just, it was like one of those no-look shots.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know because he was just playing a trick. But she hasn't like said it, even when they're having the conversation in this episode in the diner. It's just, I don't know why she hasn't just come right out and said, I saw you do this, it meant a lot. But so he doesn't know. But yeah, there's her getting to do that thing on the train, and then they take the train home, and he tells her that she is one of the world's greatest archers. I was like, girl, it's only episode 3. I was like, good for you. I was so happy he said that. But then there was also that funny thing with the whole, we got to walk the dog. And then we have the scene with her helping him with the phone call with Nate, which was really sweet.
I loved that because, I mean, we've talked about like the human side of being a hero. And it's like, this is the sacrifice that he's making.
Yeah.
And it's even like, I mean, and she says it in the diner, right? Like, you chose to save a stranger's life because you thought a stranger might get hurt. So you stayed here and didn't go home with your family. Like just showing, the sacrifice that he and any of these heroes make to save the world or save a person.
And he was the only. I mean, if you think about, if you think the out of all the Avengers stuff like that, and we've been saying it, like, he's the most normal, just average, regular type of guy. Lives in a regular fucking farmhouse with a family. Where you got all these other Avengers, Tony and stuff, and they've done it in the movies where they tried to show a human characteristic side, but they're just rich people living in these rich, fancy houses, and Clint's has always just been just this guy down the road.
if the like toilet breaks in their house, he's fixing it.
He's got
like, they're not calling a plumber.
He's got a plunger arrow.
Yes, exactly. He's very regular.
Arrow. That would be so. That's funny. It's like anything that happens, like, hey, can you get that off the top shelf for me?
Yes.
Swing.
There's a cute moment in the diner also where she sketches out the possible costume for him, which is just the original Hawkeye costume.
He's like, my wife will leave me.
Yes.
She's like, it should be purple.
Yeah, she's like, okay, what? How about all black in a mask? The pizza dog.
Like, that's when she's like, I thought she was.
That's
she's
right.
like,
I thought she was gonna say, "Oh wait, that's Ronan." Like,
yeah,
yeah,
because that's what she was getting at. It's like, oh, how about all black in a mask? And then she's like, you can't say it because it's a friend of yours. And I was like, ah.
You're so close.
That's like episode 4. She's gonna get it.
I hope so. Yeah. So this is where Pizza Dog officially gets his name. There's also, I like in the cab ride before they decide to break into her mother's penthouse or sneak into her mother's penthouse, where he mentions the possibility of more items from Avengers Compound floating around out there in the black market.
Yeah, because he was trying to figure out what they were after.
I wonder if we're gonna.
And obviously, they were probably stealing it for Kingpin.
I wonder if we're going to see, I think we're definitely going to see Yelena. Is that her name? From Black Widow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, there's that as a possible problem coming up. Or, like, again, if there's some sort of season, if there's a second season. But, do you think we're going to see, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? Oh, fuck. John, no, what was his name?
The Great Value
Special Agent.
Captain America?
Yes, thank you. Special Agent? What is his name?
U.S. Agent.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, only that just popped into my, I haven't really given it serious thought. It only just popped in my head because I was thinking of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character being the connection between him and Yelena.
Yeah, I think we might see Julia.
And Yelena for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought of him earlier, U.S. Agent, because we're talking about how Clint, if people found out that Hawkeye was this vigilante, Ronin, it would be like when U.S. Agent was killing people in the street.
Yeah.
And it's like, that we've already seen, that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder too, like, when Yelena shows up, or Yelena, whatever, when she shows up, is it going to be a situation where, like, he thinks it's Natasha for a moment or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's going to be
because
sad.
She's going to, she's going to be like Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
So, that would be interesting.
So they talk about the fact that Jack is sus, and they go to the penthouse. He's like, people, this is a home. Like, that's when we find out her great slaves. They had slaves.
Yeah.
She breaks into the system. So now, like, I'm trying to figure out exactly what type of business this is. She says it's a security firm, right? And she, like, what kind of data, like...
It feels sword adjacent.
Yeah, right? Like, because she's able to pull up information on Kazi, right? And we learned that he has a job, like a day job. He's not just,
Yeah, for Sloan Limited. I wasn't sure if I recognized that or not.
I was trying to think if I'd heard it before, and I couldn't place it. But it is familiar to Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, let me see if there's something on Jack. And I'm like, and that's when I was like, okay, exactly what is her, even if clearly I feel like whatever her business is, that's not really what it is. But right. Like, even as a front, because, her daughter doesn't know that. So her daughter thinks that there's like legitimate reasons for her mother's business to have this information. And I'm just like, why? Like, is it like bought information from like credit card companies and but
is she Facebook? Is she Meta right now?
Or is it like just a security? Is it like like personal data, like with your credit report or something? Like, why would you think that something negative on Jack would be in your mother's business that she doesn't know?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? Like, she's like, let's see what there is on Jack. And I'm like, why would your mother be dating somebody that would have something
Like,
nefarious
you would think,
in his
if
file?
If you had that capability to look at stuff, then you would search every boyfriend.
Why don't you just check to see if there's something on your mother?
Right, exactly. This, like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, why is this data here and collected in this way on these people? But then when she's like, let me see if there's something on Jack, and it's like tap, 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 and then she's like, it's heavily encrypted behind us. So I'm like, why? Why is
right? And then when she does get in, it locks her out.
And then she tries too many times, and she's kicked out of the system. At the same time, Jack is holding Ronan's sword to Ronan's throat, but he doesn't know that it's Ronan.
Now I've heard speculations that I don't know why, but people are like, "Oh, you could tell by looking at them that they knew each other."
Really?
Yeah.
It felt like they saw each other for 10 seconds, if that. so
he's Mephisto. I don't get it. I don't know why people. Why are people? Why? I didn't.
He's coming.
Like, I am not taking Jack seriously at all. Like, people are focusing way too much on Jack.
I know. No, he's the red herring. And
yeah, I don't. He feels very cartoonish.
Yeah, it's that mustache.
Yeah, he feels like he does, like you said, Donnie. He feels like a red herring. Like, he does feel like someone like, yeah, he's a bad guy, clearly. Just like Armand the Third was a not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it feels like it's very shallow.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're gonna find out that the mother is the one that's really
absolutely
the
and
nefarious
she's gonna
one.
she's gonna be in cahoots with Keekman.
Cahoots. Yeah.
She's gonna be in cahoots with who?
Kingpin.
Oh, I thought you said. I heard the parts. I thought you said Kasi, and I was like, what?
Kasi's the boyfriend
of the tracksuit mafia.
She's in the tracksuit mafia. Like, her mom's gonna show up in a tracksuit, and Kate's gonna be like, "What?"
She's gonna show a tracksuit and heels, though.
Mom, can I
but here's the thing. Honestly,
she's gonna go in the closet.
Like finding that Ku Klux Klan robe in Watchmen.
She'll find that interesting.
It's behind a secret wall.
It's just
on a mannequin.
A red tracksuit.
Kate's like, no, it can't be.
Oh my god. But I just have to say, the main reason I think there's more to Kate's mother, besides the fact it just feels like too obvious for Jack to be anything more than like some sort of gold digging, playboy, is that you don't cast Vera Farmiga to be a rich, overbearing mom with shitty taste in men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just to be the mom.
Yeah. Like, so far, that's all we know about her, and it's like, no, that's not, you don't hire Vera Farmiga for that.
Yeah, I mean, and like, no shade to the guy playing Jack, but like,
who is he?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, if it were just gonna be like, oh, it's Kate's mom, then they would have just got someone that you don't really know.
Yep. So I'm sorry, I had to get the cord for my laptop because it is dying.
I will say that when I didn't get any like, oh, they know each other vibes between Jack and Clint, but I did think, like, if I were Jack, I'd be like, what the fuck is an Avenger doing here?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember.
Everybody knows he's the Avenger. He's Hawkeye. He's an Avenger.
They
may not recognize him all the time. But
I'm trying to remember if he said his name.
I don't think so.
Okay. Because I'm wondering if that's why people think. I'm trying to remember what he said when he put the sword to his neck. But all right, so we got one bit of feedback, and then we're gonna get out of here. I have a final to take. It's technically my next to last, my penultimate final of college to take tonight. So my next final is actually writing a paper, and that's not due till next week though. So Kimberly, I'm going to read this. This is for episode 2. She just left a few days ago. It's appropriate since, Donnie fucked up last week. She says, hello, everyone.
Hey, Donnie's no role model. Okay.
She said, never pretended to be. Okay. She says, hello, everyone. I know human criminals aren't supposed to be brilliant unless they are Lex Luthor, the Joker, or Wilson Fisk. But how could those dummies think a woman in her early 20s is the Ronin they are seeking? But I think at this point now, it's just like you're hiding something, I guess. And she just wants that lead. So I feel like right now, Kiza, is that his name? Kiza is you, Kimberly, right? He's just like, this is Kazi. Thank you. Kazi is like, this is, it's clearly not her. We're pushing too much. We got other things to worry about. If Uncle finds out, like, it just kind of makes sense. Like, the story so far, what Clint and Kate has said, it feels like, yeah, let's just leave this alone. But she's like, it's at least a lead on the man who killed my father. So she's like, I don't think she really thinks that it's Kate, but I think that she knows that they're hiding something. I don't think she believes that Ronan is dead shit. Yeah,
totally. She doesn't know. Oh, yeah. It just happens to be that Ronan is dead and the person who killed him is dead. Yeah. Right. And I like that this was brought up again because I wanted to mention it. I do think the Tracksuit Mafia thought she was Ronan because they're idiots.
Right. Them for sure. Yeah.
But that's what I like about the scene with Kazi and Maya, because he's like, he calls them idiots. He's like, these idiots haven't learned ASL in the last 24 hours. We can talk right in front of them.
Right.
And so I like that delineation between Kazi and Maya and the Tracksuit Mafia, because it's like they're not like, they're just using those guys as like hired help, basically. I like that.
She says, yo, that mofo Kate's mother is engaged to is straight delusional. Is it his internal sense of privileged white male entitlement that leads him to believe that anyone would be seeking his approval? Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when I thought we were going to talk about this episode last time, I had just freshly watched the episode, and I'm going to tell you something. Kate and Jack is 100% me and my mother's second husband. Oh my God. I was the biggest bitch ever to this man. And you know what? It was the same. I was the same age. It was like between my ages of 21 and 24. Whoo, I could not stand this man. I was so fucking rude.
Did you ever fence?
Yeah. No, but I talked so much shit to his face. I was so incredibly rude. For no reason rude.
So when you say for no reason.
Well, I mean, he's a piece of shit, but...
Okay, that's what I was wondering. It's like, well, did he deserve it?
Yes, he absolutely did. And I was
the way you said, second husband, and it was only for those few years, I was like, all right, well, it sounds like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were probably together for longer, but, that age period where, I lived in the same state as them, and at one point actually lived with them, I was just like, ugh, but I just, the one thing in particular, if you're having a discussion, I mean, we've had it here where sometimes you're talking to someone and they don't know what something means, maybe somebody uses a word and you don't know what it means. It's like, what does that mean? And it's just that simple. It's not like, you dummy, you don't know that, it's like, that's not how you talk to people unless you're just purposely trying to be an asshole. And that's kind of how I was, because I just kind of knew, okay, he's not going anywhere, but I don't have to like it. So I'm just going to be as unpleasant as I can be. And so we were having a discussion about New England, or maybe it was England, I don't remember, but he didn't know the difference between England
In New England?
In New England, right. So I don't remember the specific conversation and like how it came about, like which one he got, whatever. But he just didn't know the difference. So I was something at some point about like talking about the U.S. states that make up New England, let's say. And him not knowing that New England maybe was in America. And we weren't talking about England. I think that was the pretty much the context. Now, if that happens like in polite conversation, like
I'm really glad you guys never talked about the island of Alaska.
Yeah, exactly. But he don't need to know that. Like, and you would like softly correct someone, right? No, mm-hmm. I was like, "What are you, fucking stupid?" That's how I did it.
That's good.
I swear, hand to God, that's exactly. I was the worst. I was the absolute worst.
But I mean, it's like, it just reminds me of when Homer Simpson's like, "There's a New Mexico."
And I could have just been like, "Oh no, this is New England is considered black." No, I was like, "What are you, fucking stupid?" One time, me and my brother like ganged up on him, just like so fucking. Oh my God. Anyway.
No, I like this. I want more stories like this.
So I just could say, like, I related to Kate so much when they were sitting at that dinner table, and she was just looking at him like, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." Like, she just wanted to hop across that table, start stabbing him in the neck with her steak knife. I was like, "I've been there, girl. I've been there." Anyway, she goes
what
on
are you
to
fucking stupid?
Yeah, what are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, it's New England. Because it's a different one.
So then Kimberly says the LARPers really are ridiculous, overgrown children with underdeveloped comprehension. Oh no, I feel like it's just like, look, I used to probably make fun of LARPing because again, I used to be an asshole. See the last story I just told. Listen, I like to think that, I've become more enlightened and a much more compassionate person and less of an asshole. And I'm pretty sure, like, man, we've been doing this podcast a long time. You may go back and listen to some podcasts and it's probably one me making fun of LARPers. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But, watching this, I like the way this was presented because it just did look like a lot of fun. And I was like, this isn't really much different than cosplay. Like, it is cosplay. Yeah. But, like, you have the element of, like, role-playing in it. I'm like, you know what? The world sucks. Fuck it. If they want to run around out in the park...
That's the thing is, like, it's so fucking hard to make friends as an adult. And so, like, if these guys found a way to get together and have fun together as adults, go for it.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah.
They're literally not hurting people intentionally.
Yes.
So, like, it's great. And they're not, like, reenacting the Civil War.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yes, let's be clear. They're not doing any of that. But I want to mention, I'm glad you brought up the LARPers, Kimberly, because apparently Grills is a character in the comic book. So hopefully we'll see him again.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I liked him.
The fireman. She goes on to say, a woman is the head of the crime syndicate. Okay, hopefully she really is. Remember, this was the end of episode 2 she's talking about. Hopefully she really is the big boss and not the underling of an as yet to be revealed asshole fiance, possibly male big bad. Well, it feels like she is the big bad in her own right for now. Because she's definitely at least in charge of, what's his name? Kazi?
Mm-hmm.
And those idiots, at least those group of the tracksuit mafia. So she seems to be in charge for now, but she does have that connection to who we're all assuming is Kingpin. So
yeah, and it feels like it's less that Kingpin is like micromanaging things. Like she is literally in charge of what she's doing.
That's what I mean. Right. So how much he comes into play with what we currently care about, I don't know. It honestly feels like this whole thing could play out with her and others, and then we don't, because again, we're halfway done. with the season. So it's not like it's a lot left. We could not get a Kingpin reveal until the end, and that's how they set up season 2. So, and that's what I mean, where he has a very little, maybe, input on how things turn out for now.
I mean, there is a world where we don't get any Kingpin, like actual Kingpin, like similar to like Titans season 1 or whatever, or season 2, whichever one it was, where we just got like a silhouette of Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Like we could just see like, oh, that's Kingpin's hand.
Yeah,
like,
and that's all it is, and we just saw it.
Or like, I mean, he did laugh, and like I was like, is that Vincent D'Onofrio's laugh?
You say that like you have like samples, and that makes me concerned.
I mean, listen, like I could go back. I could look at Men in Black. I could look at Happy Accidents. I could look at 13th Floor. Like, there's movies out there we can look at.
It feels like, there's something you might recognize. I don't know. She goes, I know this series is named Hawkeye, but I got way too much Hawkeye in this episode. However, based on the comics I have read with the Hawkeye character in them, he has always been pure MAGA, and as such has never been likable to me. Yeah, it's funny that, I think some people were bringing up, kind of pushing back on the normies hating on Kate. They were like, in the comics, her character is actually Hawkeye's character. That he was, very arrogant and immature, super talented, but had to be reined in. And disciplined, so yeah, anyway, so that's it. I want to thank you guys for listening. We will be back, next week, or wait, what, I'm so lost. Oh yeah, next week. Cause we, with the premium stuff, sometimes we're ahead but yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about episode 4. Donnie and Kaylee and myself this weekend are starting Alice in Borderland, which is the next the show that we were covering together to replace not Squid Game. What did we watch after Squid Game? Oh, Hellbound. So Alice in Borderland, we kicked that off this weekend on the free show, but also remember over on patreon.com/podcastfandom, we are covering other stuff like Cowboy Bebop and The Wheel of Time and Invasion and Demon Slayer and Hunter x Hunter, which is amazing, and a lot of other good stuff. So with that said, again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.